Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, you guys, peep game. It's your boy Town. All right, check this out. All right, so in hindsight, you know, Stephen A. Smith basically was doing a monologue, and he was basically talking about, you know, his colleagues that's no longer with ESPN. I think most of them will resurface one way or another. And I think for the most part, most of them had the resources to just operate on their own if they choose to. None of them is like hurting for money. And it's unfortunate that they lose their jobs. But, you know, it's never a good thing to lose your job. I mean, I've lost jobs before. So, I mean, it is what it is, you know. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, just reflecting on Stephen A. Smith, you really could just tell when he was talking about the colleagues that he gonna miss and how he spoke highly of, in particularly Jalen Rose. You could just clearly see, and this is just real talk, that Stephen A. Smith has real, I'm talking about real resentment, and you might could say borderline hatred for Max Kellerman. Because I think the comment made by T.O. when T.O. humiliated Stephen A. Smith in front of the world, and since then tens of millions of people have saw that take and that comment by T.O. where he basically said that Max is blacker than you. He basically was saying that Stephen A. Smith was conducting himself and acting like a coon. Now, I'm going to say this to you non-blacks, and in particular you white people, as far as blackness go, don't ever come on my channel trying to question me about that, because here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this again, I don't have to explain jack shit to y'all. I don't owe you any explanation about conversations or issues that go on in my community. You ain't part of my community, so I don't owe your ass any type of explanation, and to you non-blacks too. And don't give me that stuff, we all minorities, because that's complete cap. Because at the end of the day, you just as much the problem as the mayonnaise nation. There ain't none of that camaraderie and ally stuff. That's complete cap. And anybody that tries to pretend that is some kind of alliance, that's a lie. You'll form an alliance if it benefits possibly you, but not your community. So just stop the cap. But I just had to say that, and I'm going to continue to say this. One thing about me with mixed company or the mayonnaise nation, I don't have to talk racial issues within my community with you, because you basically trying to study and learn me. And the same thing with you outsiders, you other non-blacks. So I'm not going to have those kind of conversations. And don't give me that stuff. Well, how are we going to understand each other if we don't have these type of conversations? You had decades to have these conversations and you ignored it. But when stuff is happening to you and your community, now you nah. So basically, I'm just saying too little, too late. Okay? That don't work on me. You had plenty of chances. We've extended our hand out to you guys in unity and form a partnership or alliance, and you slapped it away. Or you done the, nah, I don't want to touch you, like my hand is contaminated. So I'm good. But in the grand scheme of things, I just think that Stephen A. Smith just was determined to get rid of Max Kellerman at all cost. You could just tell after T.O. said that, because Stephen A. Smith knew that T.O. humiliated him. Now, should T.O. had said that, well, that's a conversation for another day, because once again, that's kind of dangerous too, to tell a white person that they more blacker than a black person, because that so-called hood pass or temporary blackness card and invited to the barbecue stuff. I think that's very dangerous, because then you open up the floodgates and you give them a pass to think that they can basically speak and say certain things pertaining to you and your community that I think they don't have no right to say, aka Bill Murr and some other people. But finally, Bill Murr just stopped pretending, and he came out and finally just revealed that he, the true racist, that everybody always knew he was. Because one thing about certain people outside of the community, and particularly people like Bill Maher, you give them an inch, they will take a whole, you know what I'm saying? They will take more than a mile. You know what I'm saying? They will take like, you know what I'm saying? they'll take like basically a 3-hour drive. And then they'll just start saying stuff they didn't have no business saying, like Bill Maher. And Bill Maher had to eventually get checked, and other people. So you have to watch out for stuff like that. That's why I don't say that stuff about invited to the barbecue and all that stuff, because I think to a certain degree, I think that's a dangerous thing to say. Oh man, you got a black card. Oh, you want to bust? Now, no the fuck they ain't. If your identification don't say black, you ain't one of us. Okay? And a lot of you Negroes need to stop doing that stuff. Okay? Because it's dangerous. And I know this new generation of youth be doing that stuff. But y'all got to understand, us OGs are still here. And we still gonna call y'all out. Just like dudes like academics who be sitting up, you know, okaying, telling white people it's okay for them to use the N-word just, you know, around random black people. Okay. But yeah, anyway, that's another video for another day. I digress. I done got off subject, but I just wanted to put that out there as giving you guys an example and talking points. But Two Raw said something that was very interesting. He basically said, was Stephen A. Smith jealous of Max Kellerman? That could be it, but we know he had resentment towards Max Kellerman. Like I said, after that show aired, every time First Take came on, before they went on the air, you could just tell and look at how Stephen A. Smith would look at Max Kellerman like he was saying, you mother, you know, real talk. Because you start looking at a dude and you be like, damn, you not blacker than me. And this is what I've been, you know, and just once again, this is why I say this is dangerous. And that's why I don't respect a lot of these dudes that be talking this stuff about Eminem and stuff having a black pass. Because at the end of the day, there's no such thing as a black pass. And that's why, to a certain degree, I don't respect a lot of black people. Because black people is too submissive to outsiders. But they always want to swell up and loke up on people that look like them. And I'm going to continue to clown y'all. So that's why I'm saying that stuff is dangerous. Got to be careful with that whole barbecue and black pass and you want to bust now. No, they not. They won't ever be. And you won't ever hear me saying, no, oh, you got a temporary black pass and you invited to the barbecue. The only time you invited to the barbecue if I'm throwing an actual motherfucking barbecue. So, and I decide to invite you. That's the only time you going, hey, the only time you getting invited to my barbecue if I'm actually throwing a barbecue. All that mythical black card, ghetto pass stuff is that's dangerous. And I think we need to remove ourselves from that. And like I said, and I think that's where the vitriol and, you know, and I think basically the resentment Stephen A. Smith started to develop for Max Kellerman via Terrell Owens. And like I said before, it was funny when he said it. It was funny and I laughed, and then I thought about it. I always thought about it. I was like, damn. Was that the right thing to say? And I think I understand what T.O. was doing, but like I say in retrospective, maybe he shouldn't have said that. Now, don't go being mad at T.O. and turning this into, yeah, man, T.O. was sitting up there cooning when he said that to another black man about the, you know, the whole Max Kellerman is black. Man, shut up. Shut up. Because you should have been having that same mentality towards Stephen A. Smith when he was constantly throwing us under the bus. And Stephen A. Smith did it once again when the whole Jerry Jones thing came out. All we asked Jerry Jones to do was address it, apologize for it, and denounce racism. But, I went there because I was curious. So Stephen A. Smith had to play the Negro watchdog for Jerry Jones. And this is why people like, there you go. Then the way he viciously went after Kyrie Irving. Said it wasn't personal, but then he admitted that it was personal. So to a certain degree, T.O. was justified, but you just wondered should he had said it. And then I had to run up on Stephen A. Smith a few years ago because I got tired of him, capping. And that video was on here when I ran up on Stephen A. Smith. He ran from me. And since then, Stephen A. Smith travels with a couple of security guards. At the end of the day, I wasn't trying to, I wasn't trying to have a physical altercation with Stephen A. Smith. I just wanted to talk to him. He the one that told people if you see him in the streets, he'll debate you. You know what I'm saying? On site. Well, I wanted to have a conversation with him, and he took off. But it is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about that. I agree with Too Raw's take. I do think there's something there about him possibly being envious of Max Kellerman. Because like I said, you don't never want another black man to tell you that somebody that ain't black is blacker than you. Because your soul is going to hurt you. And I can tell you right now, Stephen A. Smith probably, wherever he lives, that was probably one of the longest ride homes ever. And probably when he got home, he probably was cussing up a storm. But he had his chance to bring himself back in, reel himself back in from the sea of cooning. And he chose to, swim far out at sea. So there you have it. Anyway, appreciate you listening. This your boy Town. I'm out.